So, everybody tuning in, we are here with Lisa from the Instagram handle by Lisa Lynn.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us in Cuba.
Thank you for having me.
I know it's been quite the adventure. The humidity is intense, but you guys have all handled it so well, and we're very appreciative of you joining us. So if you could kind of sum up your Cuba experience in 3 words thus far, what would they be?
Exciting, humbling, and I would say, this is not one word, but kind of like a learning lesson.
A learning lesson.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into traveling to Cuba that I don't think people are fully aware about. And I know it's very difficult to travel into Cuba. Is this your first time being here?
Yes, it is.
Amazing. So is there any specific shooting location that stood out to you while we were out?
Honestly, just walking through town. For me, I have more of a photographer eye, I believe. Or I don't even know if that's worded correctly, but it's just me looking at just capturing people in their most candid and natural moments versus having to go and pose or whatever. I love capturing content where it's in the moment, and then that way I can explain the story behind the photos.
Amazing. The next thing I was gonna bring up was kind of like your creative process, because obviously we've been following you around the past 3 days and kind of watching you create. So what is it that you look for when setting up a shot specifically?
The storyline. So for me, I have a very creative imagination. So if I'm seeing 2 children out on the street playing and there's a beautiful light in the back of behind them, it's just a very natural moment that shows the innocence of a childhood, or just how great it is to be outside, because obviously our generation is so hooked on social media and technology that you don't see kids playing outside anymore, like how I grew up, and being able to see that here has been really great. Being disconnected has been actually really amazing.
So what do you shoot with?
I shoot with a Nikon Z6, and then I also do a couple of film cameras.
Now, do you share your film on social? Have you ever thought about maybe starting a separate account, or do you share that on your Instagram, or is that kind of just your own personal hobby?
I actually do share some shots. So I mainly share it through the blog. So when I do travel guides lately, I've been using the film shots over digital just because I love the tones and the moods and the It's so much easier to carry a film camera, especially a point and shoot film camera versus a DSLR, which is heavy. So they mainly go on the blog, and sometimes they go on my Instagram feed. Most of the time, the tones from the film camera matches perfectly with my feed, so they'll be on there.
Amazing. Okay, speaking of feed, so first impressions are everything, and looking at your Instagram page, it's very clear that you're extremely creative. You're an outside the box thinker. It's why we brought you here. We love the content you create.
Thank you.
What would you want a new follower visiting your page? What would you want your their first impression of you to be?
That I'm human.
Human.
So, I do list on my bio that I'm all about self-growth and mental health awareness, and I want people to understand that you don't need to be perfect, that it's okay to have mistakes and flaws, and even what you see on Instagram obviously is never 100% real. It's filtered, it's curated, it's photoshopped, and it's completely fine to be 100% yourself, and that's what makes you unique.
Magnifique. So it's a common issue in your field. I've talked to several influencers who've kind of touched on this, kind of finding yourself in a creative funk.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced something like this?
Yeah, all the time. I love writing, so I get writer's block, and just the same, I get creator's block, or creative block, and it gets really frustrating, especially when you're expected to create every single day, you're expected to upload, and over the last 4 years of being in this industry, I've learned how to just set boundaries, and if I don't feel like shooting that day, I won't shoot. If I do have a campaign and I don't feel like shooting, we'll just try to do something quick and easy, not put too much pressure on it, because we want it to be as organic and natural as possible.
Okay, and so have you done anything in particular to kind of help you break out of that creative funk? Learned any new processes?
Yeah, so this year we started doing a lot more stop motions. We initially did just a few for our campaigns back in 2014, and we started doing it more heavily this year, just so that I can capture more of the moment versus looking at a still photo. You can actually see me interacting in some sort of way.
Okay, so in my line of work, I obviously keep a lot of eyes on social trends. Do you notice a lot more people kind of switching to video or doing more video concepts on the feed, on stories? What have you kind of noticed?
Well, I've noticed that I'm more attracted to video, so a lot of the people I follow now are more more videographers than anything, and I just get inspired by them. And I've been following more stop motions and less of like the fashion and the travel.
Do you want to shout out any videographers out there that you look forward to inspiration?
Andy To is definitely one of them for sure. Andy To and his fiance Jalen are amazing together. They do awesome work. I love them. Actually can't wait to meet them next month, so excited.
In New York, right?
Yes, in New York.
So exciting. I guess during this process in Cuba, had you known any of the girls prior to making it here to shoot with us?
LA Travel Girl, which is Layla. I've met her a couple of times. We did celebrity cruises together, and she's just been so sweet.
I love it. That's one thing that I've definitely noticed doing creator tours is kind of the synchronicity of like creators we work with, and just watching them do stuff together is really cool because I feel like that's not a common thing, at least on like press tours and what have you. So it's great watching you guys interact. We personally get a kick out of it. So
it's been so fun.
Doing amazing. We love it. How do you refer to yourself when talking about what you do for a career, when it's like meeting new people, your family?
I would say blogger, just because I do write. I have a blog, and I had the blog before I had the Instagram, and writing's always been my passion. To my parents though, because they're from Vietnam, they don't really understand what I do, so they just think I'm a model.
Yeah. Do they follow you on Instagram? Do they have Instagram?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes. My mom,
it's kind of creepy.
She literally reacts to every single thing I post on stories. It's very cute, but I get excited when I get DMs, and they're from my mom. So
they never interact with me. They just watch my stuff, and then when I go visit them, they're like, oh, I saw that you were with so-and-so the other day. And like, it was really creepy one time that I brought them to meet my friend. I invited him to lunch, and she goes, aren't you the one guy in her photo the other day? I was like, where did you see this photo?
Yeah.
Like, what?
They are keeping tabs.
Yes.
What is the biggest misconception about your field of work?
That it's so easy.
Yeah.
People don't think of it as a job, and I would honestly say a 9-to-5 job is easier than what we do because they don't realize the behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
We actually, like when my first 2 to 3 years, I was working basically 24/7.
Yeah.
Because you're a creative director, you're a photographer. Well, for me, I'm a photographer. Then you got the post processing. You're doing analytics, so you're generating reports. You're your own marketer. You're your own promoter. You're your own accountant, and then chasing after invoices is always fun, but you're literally one person running a whole entire business, and if you're fortunate enough to like grow your business to get assistant and to like get a full team, that's amazing, but I would say a majority of us are just doing it on our own.
I was gonna say, do you work with a team or is it just you?
It's me and my boyfriend, and I'm fortunate to have an amazing manager that I annoy every single day. Shout out to Rick.
But when it comes to like creating the content, it's just you and your boyfriend, your partner sometimes. Mm-hmm. Wow, so that is a lot to kind of handle.
Yeah.
I know being out here, I mean, there are days where we wake up at 7 a.m. and we're not back to the hotel until, 7, 8 p.m. So the days are extremely long, but you manage it very, very well.
Thanks.
Aside from creating content full-time, is there anything else that you're also balancing?
Yeah, so currently I just started grad school about 3 months ago, so I'm getting my master's in marriage and family therapy, and that's a 4 to 5 year process, so I got a long way to go.
So that was gonna bleeds into my next question perfectly. I was gonna say, is Instagram, can you imagine Instagram 4 or 5 years down the road still being a part of your life in conjunction with what you're doing?
I mean, yeah, I think it'll still be around, but I just don't know if another platform's gonna pop up and try to compete. You never know in this industry, and I really can't say. And at this moment, I'm just focusing on what I can and what I can possibly do with what I have.
Amazing. And then to close us off, I wanted to kind of have you brush on what you think is either the best or worst part of social media. You could touch on both. You could pick one and roll with it, whatever you feel like.
The best part is always meeting new people.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way in hell I would have met like half my friends that I've met without going on these press trips or through blogging and being able to connect with them on a creative level. It makes you feel good that you're not alone. Like, having people to express your problems with in an industry that's still relatively new is great. So I love the connection that Instagram has brought me. Downside, obviously, is that we don't have any control over the app. It's not ours. At the end of the day, if it crashes, we can't do anything about it. And it's a little scary not having control over that. And that's why I still have my blog and still focus heavily on that. So that would be the downside, that we have no control over a social media platform.
And we have brought this up in the office before, how Instagram is kind of monopolized itself. Like, any content you put on Instagram is just owned by this Instagram island, right?
Yeah.
And you're kind of at the mercy of the algorithm.
Yeah.
There's all this talk about the scary algorithm.
Yeah.
Do you keep up with that, or how do do you balance like the constant changes to Instagram?
Well, I do follow Later's blog. They're
Same.
always up to date with their social media stuff, and I mean, I play it by ear. There are a lot of things that are myths, and there are a lot of things that are just more hearsay, and you never really know what's working and what's not working. Like, you don't even know if the algorithm's real.
Yeah.
So it can also just be your content is shitty, and maybe that's why people aren't following, and nobody wants to hear that. So
Preach. Preach. Awesome. Well, if you guys want to check out Lisa's work, her blog link and her Instagram handle will be somewhere in the description below. But Lisa, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you so much.
We can't wait to see what you continue to create, and we hope to see you in future tours.
Yes, thank you.